All around the world, every day, thousands and thousands of animals are dying. But does anyone know why? Or what is causing them to die? What many people don't stop to think about is how we as humans are harming these species and the environment around them. When the animals' populations start decreasing rapidly, bringing its numbers down to only a few digits, it is now considered as an endangered species. So what exactly is an endangered species? An endangered species is one that is low in population and is at the risk of becoming extinct because of natural or artificial causes.
From the time the report has been coming out to date, WWF has documented in association with all the research institutions and academicians that we are seeing a record 60% decline in the vertebrate population across the globe. And that's very, very phenomenal. If we are not able to arrest it, then the year zero is supposed to be 2026, where we will see a total decline of vertebrate population. So definitely there is a lot to think about, a lot for us to do, and to reverse this trend. And as we say, to bend the curve. The curve is coming down, let us bend the curve to make sure it rises and the animal species are back again in the wild.
So what exactly is causing these species to become endangered? Well, the most prominent reason is habitat destruction. Habitat destruction is when an area or a region which is a home to the species can no longer be habitable because it has been worn out or has been destroyed by humans. Another reason is plastic. The plastic that we use in our everyday lives, which is not recycled, always ends up in oceans or forests. These in turn end up destroying the habitat and polluting it. Poaching and hunting are two very common things in many countries. It is when an animal is hunted either for food or to be traded for its fur internationally or nationally. When an animal is close to extinction or is already extinct, it creates a disturbance in the food chain. When there are more predators than prey, it puts the predator at a risk of extinction as well. But when there are more prey than predators, there is a risk of overpopulation for the prey. Global warming is one of the most major issues in the world today. Because of this, animals that depend on the snow are losing their habitats and no longer have anywhere to live. Here's an example of a critically endangered species. The Amur leopard has been an endangered species since 1996, which is almost 22 years. Over the years, the situation for these animals has gotten a little better and sometimes even worse. This is because of the actions that individuals are taking to help the animal. The Amur leopard's main habitats are temperate, broadleaf, and mixed forests, which are mainly found in the far east of Russia and between Korea and China. Like every other animal, the Amur leopard has its reasons for endangerment. One of the major reasons being wildfires that have different causes. Sometimes they can be caused by human ignorance, and sometimes they can be caused by natural causes, like the droughts that took place in Russia in 2010. The Amur leopard's fur has become a very valuable resource for clothing and other products, which was sold for about $500 to $1,000. Because of this, they were once hunted en masse, bringing their numbers down. But since 1956, there has been a ban on hunting the Amur leopard. organizations all over the world that you can volunteer for or join.
On planet Earth. WWF has been promoting individual enterprise like this. At the same time, we have been working very closely with forest departments and the other various government departments across AP and Telangana as well as the rest of the country, and trying to ensure that we not only look at individual species for conservation but look at the larger landscape. Only if we have the habitats available and the habitats are viable, only can then the species, whether it's a plant species or an animal species, prosper. So we are looking at landscape level conservation, which could be across states of India. It could be also across transboundary, like we have landscape programs which work with Nepal, with Bhutan and with Bangladesh, where we have like Kanchenjunga landscape, or we have the Eastern Himalayan landscape. So it's about conserving large pieces of land which have connectivity or which have corridors for animal movement, be it tigers, be it elephants, or be it rhinos. So this is very critical. Today, that's one of the major challenge which wildlife is facing in India, is about protecting our landscapes and protecting our habitats. So that's a major challenge, because there are many development activities which are happening in India. Development is paramount to our country if our country has to grow, but at the same time the challenges do remain, that how do we save viable habitats and provide viable habitats for the species, plant and animal species, to prosper.
So what can you do to help? The first thing that you can do is become aware about the animals and the plants in your environment. By doing so, you will be able to understand how to treat the environment around you and how to make it so that every species is safe. Another thing that you can do is reporting suspicious activities to authorities. By doing so, if anything bad happens, someone will always know what is happening to prevent it. By volunteering or joining an organization, you are able to make your contribution as an individual to help the cause and save the animals.
Individuals make a very big difference in conservation. We have seen many examples, right from the most famous Salim Ali, Dr. Salim Ali, who brought in awareness about birds and documented the birds of India, put together into many different books, which even today is a major reference book for us. To many such individual stories where individual has made a difference in conservation, whether it is protecting a particular species of animal like leopards, or to conserving large forest areas, like we have examples in Assam, where a man who looked at the river area being degraded started planting trees, and today it's become a very famous example of how an individual makes difference if he has a passion and a drive to conserve the resources on planet Earth.
Others all around the world are also trying to save these species through many different ways. Selective breeding has become one of the most common practices to conserve species, both plants and animals. Through this process, two phenotypic traits are selected from two parents and are used to artificially reproduce and yield an offspring with the desirable traits. Constant monitoring has also become common now in the wild, to keep track of numbers and find new ways to prevent new dangers and already existing harms. This monitoring also helps understand the behavior of a particular species to understand how much contribution is needed to save the species. So what would happen if we did not do anything to help save the animals? We all know how we see pictures and models of dinosaurs in museums. In the future, if we do not help save the animals, all we'll be seeing is pictures and models just like we do of dinosaurs. While saving the animals, you're also saving our environment and making it look from something like this into something like this. Another valuable piece of information that I gathered is from K. Mrtyunjay Rao, a retired conservationist. The extinction of animals indicates a change in the surroundings and on the habitat. Extinction of animals will affect the food chain and in turn affect other species, affecting the ecosystem and the biodiversity. The food chain is an important process in the biodiversity and ecosystem and is different in every animal species. Man is entirely dependent on nature. Without nature, he cannot survive. Each animal will have its own role in nature. We will lose their important role in nature, finally affecting human beings. For example, polar bears rely on seals for food. The seal population may decline if the Arctic cod, a key food supply for seals, dwindles. Cod eat zooplankton, and zooplankton eat ice algae. If the climate change causes sea ice to melt, the ice algae population drops, creating a cascading effect that reduces the polar bear population.
Save the species. Save the species. Save the species. Save the species.
Save the species.
Save the species.
Save the species.
Save the species.
Always be aware of your surroundings and make sure that everything you do has a positive impact rather than a negative one. With your help, we can make the world a better place for these animals. You can help your friends understand why it is important to save the animals. We need to save the species.